Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be James Bond, men lead, women follow. Well, I've got a good email success story here. And this guy, when he first started following my work, he's been following me for several years now, he recognized that he was in an unhealthy marriage and decided to leave. And so he spent a couple of years trying to implement and really learn the stuff that's in my book. And he goes through and he details how he met and seduced his current girlfriend. And what I really like about his email is he brings up about 11 different points. And he also was nice enough to share. I've talked about this many times in years past. There's a scene in the James Bond movie with Daniel Craig called Casino Royale, where he runs into this woman that he eventually seduces in the parking lot. And I won't go into too much detail because I'll get to it in a few minutes, but it's one of the few examples of a scene in a movie where everything is perfect. And so I'll reference because there's actually some guys just in the past year that have another YouTube channel that took that clip that I've talked about and go through in detail exactly what he's doing and what he's saying right. And I'll have the link to that YouTube video in the show more comments under my video, and then you'll be able to go and take a look at it yourself. But it's really informative and it's really good. So we're going to talk about obviously charm and humor and humility and a little bit of cockiness and a little bit of arrogance, and how all that mixed in together is the right way to present the alpha male energy to the world, so people follow you, and obviously women feel safe and comfortable enough around you with letting you lead things to where you want them to go. So I got a quote that I wrote, and then we're going to jump into his email. And the quote says, "It is natural for men to lead in all aspects of their lives, as masculinity is leadership energy. Feminine energy is submissive and nurturing energy. The word lead means to go first, to set the standards and vibe wherever they go. Strong alpha male masculine energy creates a space and the environment where women will feel safe and comfortable enough to relax and willingly submit to follow the lead of men. In order for this to happen, men must first demonstrate the right amount of charm, humor, humility, respect, and confidence that displays their worthiness and earns the respect of women." So let's go through his email. He says, "Dear Corey, I wanted to express my thanks for providing the relationship information you have in your book and on YouTube. I found you through your videos, which I watched over the last couple of years, and have read your book so many times I've lost count. Well, as I've talked about many times over the years, always the best success stories are from guys that read the book 10, 15, 20 times or more. Obviously, this guy's read it so many times he's lost count. Repetition is the mother of skill. And remember, like I talk about in the beginning of both my books, the first one, obviously, How to Be a 3% Man, the second one, Mastering Yourself, is every time we read something or listen to it or watch a video of it, you're going to retain about 8 to 10% of the information on average. And obviously, the stuff that's in both of my books, which you can read for free on my website, understandingrelationships.com, by subscribing to the newsletter. You can also get both audiobook versions by doing an Audible free trial through Amazon.com. But when you go through something that many times, you don't have to think about it. When I do phone sessions with guys, one of the things I see over and over is they've been through the book once or twice, or maybe 2 or 3 times. They start getting some success. They get cocky and they get full of themselves, and they just dismiss reading it 10 to 15 times. And then it's not until things go sideways because they didn't really take the time to learn the information that they end up booking a phone session with me. Now, I appreciate the business, but I'd much rather you read the book 10, 15, 20 times, because then you can save the money that you would otherwise have to pay for me to help you. But obviously, if you want to do a phone session, I'm there as a resource for you. But the idea is I'm teaching self-reliance. I want you to be able to learn this stuff on your own without having to interact with me, because the reality is I can't coach everybody. There's way more people that want me to coach them than I have the time for. So do yourself a favor, save yourself some money, and read the book backwards and forwards. And that's why this is a really great success story, is because this guy followed the instructions. If you half-ass it or think you're going to be able to get away with only reading it a couple times, you're going to be one of those guys that's calling me in a panic at the last minute, trying to turn things around when things go south. And it's really hard when you get to that point, but it can be done. He continues, your information provided the foundation for me to become the man I am today. Other resources on the internet led me to build my confidence and go for what I want. It's the building of internal confidence by taking risks in sports and by approaching women that has given me the courage in most aspects of my life. I've said many times over the years, what is confidence? Confidence is doing what you know how to do and doing it really well. In other words, repetition's the mother of skill, and you've done it so many times over and over and over and over again, you don't have to think about it. If you're lacking confidence, it's because you haven't done it enough. You haven't practiced enough. You have to get to the point where it's like breathing. If you're intimidated by talking to women or interacting with them, you have to interact with them more and more of them. That's the only way you're going to get better. You just cannot avoid that. He says, I can now start a conversation with any woman and not be nervous, something I could never do in the past. Before going on this journey, I was married for 13 years and had a daughter whom I adore. My ex-wife was very selfish and did not want to compromise with numerous aspects of our marriage. I felt we were not moving forward as a couple, so I pursued divorce. The relationship was stagnant with daily arguments about petty issues. I realized I did not want my daughter to grow up in a toxic environment. Good for you, dude, for being a great fucking dad. Thumbs up for me. This is about the time I came across your work and figured out that I needed to change internally before inviting someone new into my life. You have to get comfortable being alone and enjoying your time alone without being defined by another person. Because if you can enjoy your time alone, enjoy being single, then you're going to be great company. If you need other people as a distraction or a reason to be happy, then when you finally get into a relationship and the infatuation and the honeymoon period wear off, you're still faced with the fact that you're an unhappy person. And then when you recognize that your happiness is not going to come from your significant other, then you typically stop putting your best foot forward, and then your relationship starts to go sideways, in addition to the fact that you're not happy about your life and your lifestyle, your life's work. It took about 2 years of trial and error to figure out how to become more of a man. I mean, 2 years is a long time, but I mean, if you think about over the course of our life, 2 years to enjoy a lifetime of happiness and confidence, like James Bond. I approached many women to build my confidence and ask for dates. Repetition's the mother of skill. As I became more bold, I could feel a change occurring internally. I faced my fears and pushed through it. After dating several women in one long-term relationship, I have found a very attractive alpha female whom I feel is my equal, and she feels the same. So notice what he does here. And if you've seen that clip in Casino Royale where James Bond runs into this beautiful, stunning, black-haired woman, and she's obviously not happy with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's kind of a gangster. You know, James Bond ends up killing her boyfriend later on in the movie anyways. But he can tell she's unhappy, and he runs into her, and he says, would you like a ride home? And she says something about to the effect of, that would be bad, or I haven't been bad in a long time. And he says, well, maybe you're just a little out of practice. And he just holds that boyish, naughty kind of smile. He maintains his frame, continues looking at her. And for a second, it almost looks like a look of disgust. How dare you? And then she giggles and laughs. And then he continues on. They say a couple more things to each other. She hops in his car. And then they end up going back to his place. And then obviously he seduces her. But it's a great fucking clip. And I'll get to it in a minute with the name of the YouTube channel and the clip where these guys, it's about 14, 15 minutes long, where they really analyze it. And then this is the clip I've referred to for years. So it's a great resource for you. because you get a good play-by-play by somebody where you can actually watch the video, watch the movie clip as it's happening. The guy pauses and then explains to you what's happening. On our first date, there was an instant connection, and I ignored her beauty. I was aloof to focus on her personality and who she was as a person. Yeah, I mean, she obviously knows she's beautiful, and she hears it all the time. He took the time to get to know who she was as a human being. Now, this guy's already gone through a divorce, and so that's a very painful thing. So he knows what it's like when you make the wrong choice if you're choosing to be in a long-term monogamous relationship or even eventually get married. She later revealed to me that she felt that I was not intrigued by her looks and was not excited when she first walked in the door, as most men are. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And she's expecting him to be bowled over by her looks. And instead, she's wondering, he doesn't seem to be that interested in my looks. Does he like me? Is he into me? Obviously, that's what's going through her mind. And that causes her to see him as being different. We had a good time and connected on many levels. I let her talk and ask questions to open her up, legs opening. Later that night, we held hands, so I knew she liked me. As we were walking back to our car, she was in front of me, and I thought, who is this chick leading the way? If she's an alpha, she's used to probably not even thinking about it, just used to always being in front and being the leader, because most people are passive. If you get around other people that don't have the same level of confidence as you, they're naturally going to walk behind you or about a half a step or two behind you as you walk. The leader always walks in front. And so he's taking his time. He's the king of his kingdom. He's walking at his pace. And this woman, this beautiful creature that's with him, is walking ahead of him, trying to take the lead. And he decides he's not interested in walking as fast as her, so listen to what he does next. He says, I'm the man and need to set things straight. So I pulled her back to me and kissed her. This was so bold. I knew she wanted me to kiss her, so I went for it and corrected her walking in front of me at the same time. In a subtle, charming way, he showed her who's boss. The kiss went well, and from that point on, we could not keep our hands off each other. So what he did there is he caused her to feel safe and comfortable submitting to his lead. And she willingly did it. And of course, they were all over each other, which is something that doesn't happen very often in her life, especially with the alpha females. She's crushing it in her career and doing real well and always a leader amongst all of her friends. On date number 2, we met at a winery near my house, prior preparation. So we had the logistics all arranged ahead of time. And most women, on average, are going to sleep with a guy by the 3rd or 4th date on average. And the better you get at this, usually it will be happening on the 1st or the 2nd date. So he's thinking from the end, just like James Bond thinks. Because in his mind, he's always getting laid at the end of the night. He's not spending the night alone because the next day he could get killed by the bad guys. He lives in the moment. During the date, she said no one has ever kissed her like that and that it turned her on because he's acting like a fucking man because she's not used to it. I continued to open her up and further connect with her. We had some wine, made out, and talked. She then said, I like when you suck on my lips. In other words, inviting him to do more of what she likes. She likes him, so she's helping him. She's giving him an invitation. Please kiss me and touch me more and get closer to me. And I replied with a fucking James Bond smirk, let's go to my place so I can suck on them some more. I stared her right in the eyes for several seconds, and she said, let's go. And if you want to know what that looks like, a natural moment, one of the best I've ever seen on film, then you're going to want to go look up this video And the title of the video is called James Bond Flirting Analysis. And it's by the YouTube channel Subcommunication Mastery. Again, I'll have the link to this video and the show more comments. I'll have my assistant put it in there for you, so you'll be able to find it and watch it. It's the clip in the actual movie is only about probably 30 seconds long, but he takes it and he really dissects everything that happens. He does a really great job. So my compliments to the guys at Subcommunication Mastery YouTube channel. He continues on, we had sex multiple times on different occasions, and by the end of week 1, she asked me to be exclusive. That's pretty fast. I'd be a little cautious about that. That's pretty quick. But then again, she probably doesn't feel this way very often with other dudes. And so she's becoming really submissive and feeling really good and getting carried away on her emotions. Because after all, this dude's a stud. Because he was trained by the best. By the end of the week 3, she told me that she loved me. Dude. Thank you, Corey. And so here we're going to go through these 11 points that he shared. And he brings up some really good things. He says, I wish to add a few learning experiences for you to share. Number 1, be bold and take risks to build your inner strength. Women sense this strength in a man and know how much of it you have. It's just like in the clip. Stares at her with that boyish charm, the kind of naughty look on his face. He's not worried. He's not fearful because he's been through it so many times with so many other women in so many other movies, at least the character, I should say. That repetition is the mother of skill. He can do this in his sleep. He doesn't have to think about it anymore. It becomes instinctual. And that's what happens when you read my book 10 to 15 times. It becomes instinctual. You don't have to think about it. When you only read it a handful of times, oftentimes you're going to be confused and you're going to be unsure of yourself, and that the women are going to pick up on that. And you'll tend to act more like a robot than instinctual. Number 2, go for what you want and take it. If you see a hot woman with no wedding ring, go over and introduce yourself. Be bold, and women will appreciate it and respect you because most men are weak. Be her 3% man. Number 3, approach until your nervousness goes away and then approach some more. I'm going to read that one again. That was really good. Approach until your nervousness goes away and then approach some more. So anybody sitting there watching this going, I'm afraid to talk to women. You haven't done it enough. When you do it way more than you think you need to, you don't have to think about it. It's not hard. You're always ready. You're always prepared. And it just flows naturally. Because you never know when you're going to meet a really spectacular woman like this. Women like this, they don't come along every day. These are every 2 to 4 years. Number 4, you must face your fear through risk-taking to build inner strength. This is the key to becoming more of a man. Number 5, find a sport or purpose and take risk. You got to have your mission and your purpose and your life's work in order. Doesn't mean you have to be at the highest level of success, but you got to know what you want, why you want it, and you got to be taking the action to make it happen. You have to have emotionally compelling reasons to do something. Because without them, you won't do what's necessary. Number 6, always be replacing, not chasing. Always have an abundance mentality. In other words, you have the mentality that no matter how amazing a woman is, there is a bigger, better deal down the road. And so unless she's spectacular and makes it easy and effortless for you, you should be content to move on and let her go. There's another bus every 15 minutes, I always say. Number 7, listen to what she says, but pay extreme attention to what she does, her actions. Number 8, correct her behavior early on in a polite but firm way. Be the man. Don't let her walk all over you. Set the boundaries and she'll respect you. I was doing this on dates 3 and 4. Because especially dealing with an alpha female who's used to getting what she wants and she knows she's fucking hot and she knows she's got a great body, She wants the best. She doesn't want a fucking mediocre guy or a dude that she has to teach to be a man. And she's going to fucking test you, so your game needs to be tight or you're going to fuck it up. Number 9, get her talking and open her up. Listen to her and make reference to what she said to show you understand. This is so key because it builds trust and tells her you understand her. That's more of in the advanced phases of my book under the relationship category. And guys that only focus on the pickup and the dating part and the seduction part, when they get towards the relationship phase and they don't learn this skill, it's going to create a lot of fucking problems the longer you date. If you don't know how to open a woman up and connect with her and communicate with her and make her feel like you've heard her and you've understood her. Remember, when a woman feels heard and understood, the legs open. And so the legs might open in the beginning, but if you don't know how to make her feel heard and understood, they're going to start closing later on. And playing games is not going to save things because she's going to come to recognize that you really don't understand women and you don't know how to communicate with them. Read the fucking book 10, 15, 20 times. Whatever it takes to get you to the point where you can do it instinctually, where you literally could get up in front of a class and teach the whole book in a seminar if you wanted to. That's how good you need to get to know it. And that's why, this guy took all his time to write these bullet points out because he's a good guy, because he wants to share what he learned and how he did it in hopes that you, the person watching this or listening to this, if you're listening to the podcast, which all my videos now are available in iTunes and SoundCloud and Stitcher. So if you want to just listen to the audio, I highly encourage you to do that. But you can tell this guy's got his shit together because he put the time in. He spent 2 years immersed in this. And when the right girl came along, it was just like a fairy tale in the movies. Keep opening her up and see her soul. Ask how she was brought up. This is really important. Ask how she was brought up and her relationship with her parents and siblings. The more you open her up and understand her and her behavior, the more mind-blowing sex you will have. Well, the old saying goes, women fall in love through their ears and men through their eyes is what this means. And if you don't take the time to learn the relationship skills in the back, you're just simply not going to get a woman to this level where she's obsessed over you and stays obsessed over you. Number 10, be honest. Speak your truth and live your truth without fear and let the chips fall where they may. Because the right people and the right women will stick around. Number 11, if you're looking for a wife, get to know her parents and how she was raised before getting married. This is how she will raise your children and interact with you when your kids come into your life. Things change. And this dude, he speaks from experience. So learn from his failed marriage so you don't have to experience the same thing because you didn't do a good job up front of pre-qualifying the woman you're with. Remember, if you want to get married, if you're looking for a healthy, long-term monogamous relationships, the best candidates are women that have a great relationship with their mom and especially their father. You can find a woman where their parents are together, or maybe the second marriage, the parents are still together, the stepfather or stepmother is in their life, and she has a great relationship with both of them, where the parents communicate and they have a we're in it together, we're a team type of mindset, meaning if there's a problem, they don't go to bed until it's resolved because they care about each other so much, they want each other to be happy. The whole purpose of a relationship is you go there to give. You're there to help each other grow and become more. And the reality is most of the women that you're going to meet did not come from these kind of backgrounds. So take your fucking time. And if you don't believe me, I'm sure everybody watching this knows plenty of people that have been through divorces to know how expensive and unpleasant it is. And the longer you're together and the more the assets are that you have, and especially when you get kids involved, it can be a fucking nightmare and a financial black hole. So take your time. Don't be in a rush to marry the first pretty girl that bats her eyelashes at you. Make sure you got a good catch and a good candidate. And I would recommend to date for at least 2 to 3 years, because remember, people can hide who they really are for about the first 90 days of a relationship. And it usually can take anywhere from 6 months to 12 months is that infatuation, that honeymoon period, for those feelings and that infatuation to wear off. And then that's where you get down to the brass tacks of where things are and what kind of person you're actually dealing with. Haste makes waste. So if you'd like to get my help personally, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.